Well, what do you, Lisa, Krista? I'm happy to roll some time, but I'm also happy to start saying some welcome. You give me all right. Let's do that. I am so excited, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Freedom Festival. It's Freedom Festival 2025. This is our third year, and we are so glad that you are here. So, welcome to all of those who have been here before. And for those of you that this is your first time, I'm going to give you a little introduction. Okay. So, the Freedom Festival was started in 2023, and it was created in response to the desire to create through celebration, through conversation and play and fun, to create the meaning of freedom and independence for all. We had a new national holiday in the country, Juneteenth. What did that mean? Who knew? Some people, of course, descendants of the enslaved who had been celebrating for years, had some relationship. But as a country, what did it mean for us to have a relationship to Juneteenth and to Independence Day and this new moment since the murder of Floyd? We had a new consciousness, a new awareness. So the festival is that opportunity in response to the call from Opal Lee to celebrate freedom from Juneteenth to July 4th, an opportunity for 16 days of celebration conversation. So this is us. And the festival's created by ordinary people. So artists, scientists, educators, enthusiasts, business owners, someone who says, you know what, I want to talk about inspirational people in my life. That's what happens at the festival. It's a way of giving to one another. So we're particularly excited that you're joining this event, particularly excited, generously organized by Lisa Aurora of Tomorrow Gallery and Krista Denayo of Moving Ground. So this is just one of 22 events that are happening in the festival, which you can find at freedomfestivalusa.org. And when you're there, sign up for the newsletter so you get the announcements of the events and continue to share. And what's really wonderful about this event is it's not just once, it's today, but it's also next week. And so we have an opportunity both to experience it twice, which I plan to do. Um, in the meantime, welcome again to this session. I hope you enjoy. Over to our hosts.
Thank you so much, Raquel, and thank you everyone for joining this conversation today. Special thanks to Lisa Aurora, who did the big heavy lift on really inviting, taking the lead on creating this event today and bringing myself and our panelists together with the Freedom Festival. And thank you, Raquel, for hosting us and for the work you're doing to create and hold and host this festival. I'm coming to you today, folks, from San Francisco, California, which is also the unceded ancestral territories of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. I'm the artistic director of Moving Ground, initiated this project Sanctuary Spaces some months ago when our current administration came in and started telling us that we couldn't have sanctuary states anymore, etc. All the other things that have been all the other repressive, oppressive policies that this administration's been bringing to queer folks, to people of color, to immigrants. And so this project is an effort to create an art action network that will help those of us who are part of Moving Ground and then inviting our colleagues and collaborators around the country and around the world to initiate and opportunities to uplift real stories from real people who are currently experiencing unsafety or have been experiencing unsafety due to folks' identities or statuses, and to create to strengthen networks that already exist and to create new ones that can help us literally create sanctuary spaces for one another, for our communities. And yeah, so this conversation came about because Lisa is working together with me on MovingGround and does a lot of amazing work unto herself, and which you'll hear about, and introduced me to this festival, and then helped co-create this panel today. So I'm really grateful to be here and to be in this conversation with everyone today. And I'll just turn over to Lisa.
Thank you, Krista. I am really grateful for Raquel and for the Freedomnistas for their spirit and in these times, and for having Freedom Festival USA and asking these questions. And I have been a gallerist and creator of spaces in Oakland for my entire time here, and that's how I know the artists that are in the panel today. And I want to say that I am a she, her, that I am living in Oakland, California, and that I am on the Sagarete land of the Ohlone Chochenyo speaking people. And I wrote a brief thing that I'm going to share with you now. In a time when executive orders dismantle DEI and threaten sanctuary cities, when anti-trans and anti-worker laws target marginalized communities, how do queer artists create spaces of freedom, not just for survival, but for a creative process? For 2 decades, I've worked in Oakland as a gallerist, as an organizer, and as an artist. I wanted to create spheres where queer, Black, and brown diaspora could connect their ideas and work with community. I wanted to create a space where I could see myself. In these times, I felt that my freedom was tethered to a thin line. As tensions worsen, what surprise move can we create to encourage positive change? I decided to speak out and to bring my friends together. And with that, I turn it over to our wonderful panelists. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to see your work and have this conversation. Lady Zen, thank you for being here today.
Hi, how are you? My name is Lady Zen, and I'm coming to you from all the way from San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. And I'm really excited to be here. My pronouns are she, they, and I hope that this discussion kind of opens up many beautiful avenues for all of us. Let's see. What else am I supposed to say?
Would you like to introduce your film trailer?
Yes.
A bit about that.
So, I am a lyric fusion poet, which is mixing many different forms of art together to create one beautiful piece of art, I guess. And this is a trailer for my movie. We won several awards around the world, including London, France, Malaysia, a lot of them. There's over 75 awards that we've won. And so let's hit it. Let's see that trailer. What do you think? I was born into a Brazilian family, and at 11 months old, I became a Brazilian orphan. Having a family was not my birthright. What makes a person worth loving? Was I soft butch? Was I lesbian? In all the queer conversations I had about identity, I never felt queer enough, lesbian enough, trans enough. I wasn't poly or pan, not butch enough, not lesbian, not radical enough. It was better to just be a blank canvas. Whoever I was in that dream, it frightens me.
Now, welcome to the stage, internationally celebrated vocalist, poet, and composer, Lady Zen.
I found home, again home. I found love. It was just Thank you. Thank you. The movie kind of talks about, this history of starting out, not really having a family, and embracing my queer identity, and then being able to take over all of these stages around the world and to unapologetically be queer, to share my message with people about resilience and hope. And so I'm really grateful to have a platform that reached so many people around the world.
Thank you, Zen. Mr. Lady Zen, everybody. And we are about to drop a link in the chat, just FYI, from a recent article that was written about Mr. Lady Zen in one of the Puerto Vallarta publications, where Zen performs a lot. And in that article, there are links to more of Zen's work, including generously the full film, What's in a Name, which I highly, highly, highly recommend folks watch. It's an incredible film. And yeah, so the opportunity to see it not in one of the festivals or a theater where it's being produced, but just being offered now freely is a great one. So take advantage of that. And Stephen, if you don't mind dropping that link in the chat, that would be awesome, to that article, or I can do that if that's better. Maybe I just can't see it. Coming up. And then we'll be back with you, Zen, in a few minutes. Let's hear from the other artists.
I wanted to say thank you to Lady Zen for making that work, and I'm so excited that I get to see the video. Thank you for giving that to the group. And I also want to introduce Window, who is an artist that I met here in Oakland. I'll let you introduce yourself. Welcome, Window.
Hi, hello everybody. I'm Window. My pronouns are she, they. And I just talk about, I'm a singer-songwriter, author, artist, multidisciplinary artist. I just put out an album yesterday, so go stream Postcard Memories. And I'm so sorry. What else was I meant to say? Ooh.
Oh, I think if you want to just introduce yourself in any way you want, but also then we're going to see some of Black Lesbian Bedtime Stories, right?
Oh yeah,
I
no,
think
definitely. Well, we have a video of my head, and then we also have
we have a video of your head, and then we also that we'll be showing in just a moment, and then we'll drop Black Bedtime Lesbian Stories in the notes so that anyone in the group can take a peek at that.
Yes.
But did you want to say anything more about some of the things that you're working on right now, this current piece? Or should we show it first? Let's show it first.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Show it first.
Okay, then take it away. Thank you.
We clicked from the very start when you said let's do it, you shawty. And then you slid me a number, invite me out to the bar, and I wear a skin tight just so you can see what I'm rocking. But girl, you have my attention from the moment you walk in. Now we're just getting started. We spent 3 hours just talking, and turns out there is a lot that we both know we have in common. I study you like a scholar, you hooked on me like I'm phonics. You taste like gin and tonic. At first you didn't like the shirt, but now my lipstick is on. We don't need to sleep, love, just let me wrap my weave now. We can brush our teeth and floss and take off all our makeup. Coming next to me, love, but it's guaranteed. When you back it up on me, I'm gonna wanna, 'cause it's 3 in the morning and I'm rocking up on it. But come on, get up on it. Come on, get up on it. I can tell that you want it by the way that you're watching. Clap, 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 she's applauding. I got it, I'm on it. I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. More often, it's anything but platonic. Am I afraid of commitment, or do I find it cathartic? I wanna ask what we are, but I get so scared I could vomit. You move my hair out my face and call me names like Lil Mama. I know we have a connection, and I'm not scared to be honest. I've done some things in the past that don't make me look the hottest, but babe, my loving hypnotic. And once you start, you can't stop it. I'll make you vegan lasagna. You'll wife me up with no problem. Cause baby girl, we don't need to sleep. Love, just let me wrap my weave up. We can brush our teeth and floss and take off all the makeup. Come lay next to me, love, but it's guaranteed. When you back it up on me, I'm gonna wanna, cause it's 3 in the morning and I'm rocking up on it. But come on, get up on it. Come on, get up on it. I can tell that you want it by the way that you're watching. Clap, 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 she's applauding. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. When you're laying here with me, I don't care about anything but you. Cause it's 3 in the morning and I'm rocking up on it. But come on, get up on it. But come on, get up on it. I can tell that you want it by the way that you're watching. Clap, 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 she's applauding. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. And I'm rocking up on it. But come on, get up on it. Come on, get up on it. I can tell that you want it by the way that you're watching. Clap, 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 she's applauding. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted. I got it, I flaunt it, cause I knew what you wanted.
Okay, so yeah, that's that's one of the music videos that's going. It's one of the 7 visuals that I'm trying to do for this album that I just put out. Yes, this is currently, this song is on the project too. There's an album version. This was like the version I put out earlier, but basically my work just centers a lot of it centers, honestly, it's crazy because it is kind of like there are a lot of themes of resilience. I think the resilience in my work kind of comes from like radical joy, I guess, as like, like one of the pillars is radical joy for sure. And then I think I try to center stories that like revolve around people who are like navigating like instability and grief, but then like the lives we build after that. And I think that's where like the resilience might tie into. But a lot of radical joy over here, a lot of black gay shit. Mostly I'm just, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I really love the dreads and that you bagged up and that you this is my first time hearing this piece, and then like the crescendo of like you just drop harder in like second and third verse, like,
Aw.
and I really enjoyed the piece and can't wait to share that with my friends. Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You're so cool.
You want to share anything more about your process?
Um,
You have a few more minutes.
for sure, yeah. I think mm, well, I guess my process is really mostly I don't know. I like telling stories, I guess. I don't really know what more to add, but I like telling stories. I like, a lot of hands-on like DIY stuff.
You made a lot of the work
Yeah.
yourself.
Oh yeah, no, literally we did all the filming. I like literally planned all the shots. I wrote the screenplay. I made the puppets. I found the locations. I
Wow.
hired the dancers. Like I literally do all of this myself.
You did the choreography as well?
Oh, well, I mean,
Well, no.
I guess. I mean, like
Yeah.
they did the work. Like I didn't shake any ass. So, like, they did the
Well,
work.
the
Well, I think-
puppets.
oh yeah, no,
But-
I was the puppeteer. Me and my partner were both puppeteers for this. Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you again, and we'll come back around to you.
Oh,
Thank you
And
for being here.
before we leave you though, Window, do you want to introduce anything about lesbian bedtime stories?
oh yes, Black Lesbian
Well, I
Bedtime
drop it in the chat.
is a book
In the
that me
chat.
and my partner wrote about it's really okay. It was inspired by, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Terry Woodrow, but she in the 70s and 80s collected an anthology of lesbian bedtime stories. And I found that book in Iowa when I was living a very different life. And I held on to it because I was like, oh, please. And it brought me so much comfort. And I guess like in my mind, I was like, wouldn't it be great? Or like, I mean, I guess like I shared it with my partner and she's like, wouldn't it be great if we had like Black lesbian bedtime stories? And I'm like, we could have Black lesbian bedtime stories. And then next thing you know, here we are getting this together and we're actually getting ready to put out a second one, but you know, it's obviously taking a lot of time, you know, so, but it's basically the stories in them, in themselves are sort of designed to be silly. It is not like, this is not the most profound like piece of literature like I ever like wrote or anything. So I don't want anybody to be like, oh my God, like, but it is, it's designed to make you feel good and fall asleep. It's fun, you know, it's fun, silly, you know, it's an easy read for sure. There's 15 stories in there, for $15. And
That's a
yeah,
great price. I'm gonna go
you know,
drop-
yeah, $1 per story.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop a way to get that now
Please,
in the
please.
notes.
Yay. Oh, here we go. She just handed me. This is lesbian bedtime story. So this is Terry Woodrow. This is Terry Woodrow. And oh, have ours over there. Oh shoot. I don't think we need to
Do we get to see Gabby?
Oh, you want oh my I don't know if she's ready for daylight right now.
Okay, go.
She might come say hi in a second.
Love you, Gabby.
She said hey.
I'm here in spirit.
She said I'm here in spirit.
Good team. Thank you. I dropped a link to Amazon. Is that the best place to buy the book?
Honestly, I'm so upset that it's the only place to buy the book right now. I want to have like a website I can put it on, but right now, yeah.
Yeah, to be continued. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Najee. We'll come back around when we have questions after we get to hear from Najee Rene Casino.
I get background music? Oh, I love
This
that.
is your intro music because you shared this property. Najee is a world-renowned DJ and wonderful person.
Oh, love that 10-second intro song. Thanks, y'all. Hey, everyone. I'm Najee Rene. I also go by Casino. I am an American expat living here in Berlin. I am a hypnotherapist, a massage therapist, an EFT practitioner, a tarot reader, and a multi-dimensional artist. I'm so honored to be here with this amazing panel of people. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, of course, Krista and Lisa, for having us so we can share our voices.
We wanted to share the screen of where people can find your podcast. It airs every third Friday. And what is the name of a place where people can see the broadcast?
So I am a podcaster. I have a podcast here in Berlin under the name BABE. BABE is an acronym for Black American Berlin Expat, wherein I talk to my guests. I usually always have a guest, and we talk about just the experiences. A lot of the time they're expats living in Germany. A lot of the time they're differently abled or people who are, again, not from here. So we talk about our experiences in Berlin. You can catch this at Keith FM Radio. It's like Keith Fem. So Keith, the name Keith, and then FEM.com. And that's me sitting in front of one of the Capitol buildings in DC, representing what Americans look like. That's like what an American looks like. So I thought it was like perfect representation for a podcast.
We're going to scroll through it here. There we are, Keith FM Radio. We're going to log in and find you. And what's your next podcast about?
Yeah, so my next guest is a person who recently had top surgery. So we're going to be discussing kind of the process of that. And some of this subject matter will be sensitive. So we definitely encourage our listeners to listen like with an open heart and with an open mind to these experiences. And as I am also navigating language and discourse as a host, I will also be kind of stretching into levels of consent and just respect for these particular issues. So it'll be a good one. It's going to be next Friday. I think it's what, the 28th. 28th. It's my time here, so it would be honestly it would start about right now. So
In California, and then
California,
I'll
correct?
make
Yeah.
it work. Well, one thing that we did with this event, Najee, that you might do with yours is we put all the different time zones for our folks. I'm excited about the work that you're doing for health and for the body, and as far as like finding resources right now in America, and friends who have been scrambling to get their bottom top, gender affirming surgeries done. So thank you for continuing that to support and question and care for that community. You shared with me a link that I'm guessing you would like us to watch right now. Can we play it? And then you'll talk about it?
Let's play a link.
Okay, we're gonna play it.
Hi, I'm Najee Rene. I'm from Oakland, California. Gosh, gender is always like such a weird topic, right? Like every time. I've been, I don't know, just myself since I was like, I guess like 15. I don't think I was myself before that. And it always is a different conversation. Like from there to now, gender is a continuum of fluctuation. I guess for me, like I feel my most powerful when I'm presenting really high femme. I told my father when I came out to him like the second time that like, you know, I'll never be like a powerful man in a suit, but I can be a really like strong woman in like heels, you know? Being a Black femme person in the world, I guess like there's a lot of power in it. Like I see a lot in my media nowadays, like the 2020s have been really instrumental for the Black culture movement, because all culture in America to me is like Black culture, and we're really getting to see that now in like media. So being a strong Black like femme-bodied person in media right now is like really celebrated in a lot of ways. I'm able to really kind of like encapsulate or really like personify these images of these women who are really celebrating their bodies and have something to say in their music. Connecting with people is what I do. The tarot has always been a really important part of my life. I learned from like incredible goddesses in the Bay Area here about like the art of the tarot and how it can really like shape your life. And I've had so many people confess to me at my table like how, you know, I brought up something that like, they're like, how did you know that? I'm like, I actually don't know anything. I'm just like reading through the cards. That gift has been like such an affirmative part of my life. So it's really free form. I'm really like feeding off of what the person's giving me. And I'm quite literally reading the cards. Each one has such personality, has such depth and symbolism. So those interpretations like vary. It's so crazy. You could get the same 3 cards that mean so many different things like over and over and over again in your life. So that has just been really magical. I'm excited to contribute to the conversation about gender equality and self-expression because I have something to say, and I say it with how I look. And the way I look is my advocacy. I'm so excited for the possibility of being on this show so I can show community what it looks like to be proud of yourself, to really not have any fears about how you're perceived by other people, because everyone's gonna have an opinion about you. Like clearly, like I have an opinion about myself and everyone here and all of you, I'm gonna have an opinion about you too. Don't be afraid to be your true self and your authentic self, because the people who support you and love you are gonna really like lift you up. You know? And also it's okay to be really sad and still look fabulous. It's okay to feel really isolated and still like put your fucking heels on. It's okay to feel like you're the freaking other and like still put makeup on. It's totally fine.
That was my audition tape for reality TV. I'm still in process, so wish me luck. Maybe you'll see me on your screens relatively soon.
What show?
Big Brother, Naked and Afraid, The Challenge, whatever one will take me. I don't care at this point.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for
Amazing.
being here, Najee. Everything that you're doing. We're gonna start getting into some questions now for each panelist, and don't worry, audience or participants who have joined, we will have a Q&A time, so where you can ask questions and we can all just kind of get into it together. We're gonna start out with Mr. Lady Zen. In some of our conversations and just in your work at large, you describe yourself as a queer elder. You obviously have taken that on in a lot of different ways. And can you talk about what it means to be a queer elder for you?
Well, as you know, it took a long time for me to kind of find my identity as a transmasculine person. Najee, I really appreciate that you talk about how all of these fierce femmes have been a part of your life, and they've been a part of my life too. They have actually helped me define who I am and be okay with who I am, because there wasn't the language that we have now. There wasn't the freedom that we have now. And being queer wasn't exactly something to be super proud of. I felt like I didn't identify with the LGB crowd. I felt like I was definitely on a different spectrum in talking about my queerness. And when I found the word queer, I felt at home. And I think for the idea of being a queer elder to me is just that I've survived all of this. I have come out, in this time in my life. I'm in my 50s, and I feel very fortunate that I've had the privilege to not be assaulted. I've had people talk to me in ways that are a bit derogatory, but I'm also I'm very proud of who I am. And I have a lot of self-esteem in my identity. I have a lot of self-confidence in my identity. I also have a lot of love, and I have a lot of openness for entering into uncomfortable discussions and allowing people to share their ignorance, because there is a lot of ignorance out there about the queer and trans community. So it's nice to be able to share those things. And I'm a survivor who continues to shine. And as an artist, it hasn't always been a welcome party for us to express our poetry, to be in the mainstream, to have a voice like we do today. So I'm really proud of that. And I'm really proud that when people are looking for people who have been in this industry for a long time, that they're finding me. And that makes me feel great, because it means all of that hard work that I put in back in the day. My first band when I was in my 20s was a queer band in Arkansas. And I remember we were on tour. We were going to Oklahoma and Texas and Wichita, Kansas. And when we were in Wichita, Kansas, we actually got picketed by the Reverend Phelps family. If you don't know who that is, it's kind of like a cult, that was really, again, like they had all the God hates fags signs and all of this stuff. And I felt super privileged to be picketed, to be seen. But what a way to be seen, as something that was an abomination to God. And so being a queer elder to me is just being able to say, hey, we've been here. There is a whole history of queer people and how we have operated in the world, and to not be so afraid. And much like Najee was saying, my every day, I don't dumb down who I am. I go out, I dress how I want. I show up in stages in front of a lot of people who don't understand queer or trans identities, and they may say, oh, you're just a dyke or a butch lesbian. And I say, well, actually, it goes a little deeper than that. And to be acknowledged is my greatest joy. So as a queer elder, I feel like it's my responsibility to even talk to young trans people about like, I had 7 friends who transitioned in my youth. And when that question came around for me, like, do you want to transition? Because I had always felt like it was in the wrong body. I was uncomfortable with my female body. Um, I really thought that through. I thought, um, what is it that I'm here to do? How am I going to present myself in the world? And I chose not to transition. I chose to be in this body. I chose to have people ask questions. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. I still struggle with dysphoria and things like that. But I also find the strength in being in this body to be the person that I am. And to rebrand Lady Zen into Mister Lady Zen has been really fun too, because people are like, I always thought you were Mister. And so it's nice to be able to have these spaces that are becoming more and more comfortable. However, in a lot of ways, I feel like we're going a bit backwards. And the voices that we have as queer elders, I think it's time for us to take our soapboxes again and stand up and say, we're here, we're queer. Window said that when she came in. I'm here, I'm queer. And that's so important. So I'm thankful that my light hasn't been extinguished, that my voice is still strong, that I'm still able to be in this world exactly who I am. So that's what being a queer elder is to me, showing the young people that, yeah, we've been here, we're still here, and we'll take care of you.
Thank you, Mr. Lady Zen. And I did want to also loop back to some questions that I skipped over, actually, that we want each of you to respond to. And so we'll start with you, if you don't mind, which is, can you tell us where you are currently living and how it is that you create sanctuary there?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay. I moved to Mexico 11 years ago. I had presented something for Nikki Giovanni and Cherry Moraga at the National Black Theater with the National LGBTQ plus gospel choir. And I was so excited about it. We were a gift for a new organization that had just started that year. And I was so proud to say, hey, I am a gift and I'm working with all these amazing people for this new organization called Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter was what the response was. I sent out all of these press releases. They were like, that organization is not going to last very long and it's not going to do very much. And I don't know why you're so proud to be part of something that's Black Lives Matter. And I felt so incredibly disregarded. The organization was disregarded. The reason that it existed seemed to me to be disregarded. And so I had an invitation from Mexico. So I chose to take that invitation. And I'd struggled in so many places to not feel like I belonged, which we saw in the video in the trailer for What's in a Name. And I said, I never felt American enough. I never felt this enough, but I felt Mexican enough when I got here. I found that the Mexican people were very, very welcoming, that being a queer person was not really a big deal. And so I felt safer here. I felt more embraced. I felt like the world opened up when I moved here. So being in Mexico, no matter what people will say to you, is a very safe space for me, and I'm really grateful to be here, and it feels more safe than anywhere else I've been in the world, and that's living in many different states in the United States as well. So it is my sanctuary space every single day.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this. Did you have another
Um,
question?
Yeah, I
Chris?
just we had meant to ask each of you these two questions to start with, and I accidentally skipped right over them. And so that is just, are there any initiatives that you're working with right now, Zen, that are creating sanctuary for folks at this time? I know there is at least one, and so we want to also share those resources with folks.
Yes, I'm becoming more and more involved with an organization that creates, I have a beautiful home here. And it's a space for uh people to come and stay in my home. It's paid for by an organization that just absolutely just slipped out of my brain. The space is here for anyone who needs a respite. It's a can be a short-term stay, it could be a couple weeks, or it could be like 6 months. And we've already had I've had two people come through my house that just needed to get away for a while due to several different circumstances. And so yes, I'll try to find the organization name real quick so that I can share that with you here. Yes.
Perfect.
I'm super inspired
Thank you.
by your space, and I want to come volunteer down there, like if you need any work done. Because I heard that Isabella Allende and Margaret Atwood are just hanging out in this town having tea, and these
And
writers
Sandra
and
Cisneros.
Sandra Cisneros.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing artists here. Yes.
And I've already
Be
taken,
like,
yeah, I've got to get down there, and I appreciate you reminding us that there's like fear language out there that says this place is this scary, hairy monster. And it's like, nah, that's just the propaganda. So
well,
I,
we're known for our cuisine, fashion. We have a lot of fashion designers who have little boutique studios here that everybody dresses well every day. We're also known for art and literature here, music.
thank you for being a part of this conversation. I'm so glad that we're friends, and also that you're a resource to everyone now in this group, and that we're all connected. I have a question. My question is, going back to Window, I wanted to ask you, Window, are there people that you seek out to work with that are particularly helpful in your process for creating sanctuary spaces?
Definitely. I feel like when I love collaborating with people. It's one of my favorite things, like as an artist, that I get to do. And I definitely seek out collaborators who lead with care and curiosity. So, like I don't like, people who like want to like rush things. Like I like people who like are like genuinely like interested in like uplifting, I guess, like so I guess like for in my experience, I guess like for me it's like art. So it's like people who are making the art to uplift the craft as a whole, I guess. Like so I really appreciate people who are committed to getting curious, like, and like, it's like I guess also like people who are like self-aware as well too, and people who are rooted in like community healing. So like I intentionally work with people who have like a relationship to mutual aid, or have like at least some understanding of that, transformative justice, like people who have like a connection to like their ancestors as well, I think is really important for me too. And like that doesn't necessarily mean you can't be like white, but like you have to know your, like, I don't know, you have like people like I don't we have like I don't know, like you're German, you're not like white, because whiteness is like an invention and it's crazy. But I guess like
And it's
and then also like of course I love working with queer, trans, like LGBT, like queer people, as someone who's like also queer. I feel like it's, I don't know, I feel seen and respected in a lot of those spaces. Whereas in like, I guess like there have been experiences I've had like working with bands, working with like groups of like men, and like especially like music is such a male like dominated industry, especially like a white cis het male dominated industry, or even just like a cis het male dominated industry. And I feel like it's really easy to get lost in that, especially like doing music and stuff, and like, you know, being in the body that I'm in. So um I think that like for me, like when it like I can work with those people, but when it comes to like making art that feels like a sanctuary space that feels true to who I am, I like to work with people who have like lived experience dealing with like, you know, being queer, being black, being brown, being, you know, in this world existing like as we do. And people who like understand that, because I've made mistakes before where I feel like I've kind of worked with people who are like they think they understand that, and I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, but then it's like they don't, and then like the only person that ends up really like having a difficult time with that is like me, because like I'm the other, I guess, in that situation. So it's nice to get to work with people who like see the fullness of my humanity, I guess, and people who not only see the fullness of my humanity but the fullness of other people's humanity too, I guess, is who I like to prioritize.
thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's like these DEI programs that we have, like they're there to like kind of shelter you from, I think, from what you're a little bit of what you're talking about. Like I want to be seen. Like there's an article that says you gotta look, you know, you gotta
Yeah.
look, you gotta look again, look
Mhm.
again. Oh,
Mhm.
that happened, look again. And it's like, so we do need those for
Yes.
sanctuary.
Yes.
May I ask you another question that we're going to
Of
ask everyone in the group?
course.
Can you share with us where, oh, I'm sorry. Can you share with us how you're currently creating sanctuary where you live?
Yes. So a lot of, for me, creating sanctuary starts internally, because I'm a person who like lives with a lot of anxiety, just from like, you know, life and lived experience. So I guess like a lot of it is just like internal. First, it's like I have to decide that I'm like worthy of that sanctuary. And then once I decide I'm worthy of that sanctuary, it becomes easier then to like open up space for others. But I guess like I don't know.
It's as if you're describing a practice.
Yeah, yeah, no, it I guess like for me, it's just about like thinking about, I don't know, I guess I pay a lot of attention. I guess I'm kind of like observant. I feel like sometimes I tend to be a little bit of a quiet observer. So creating sanctuary for me, I guess. Like do you mean like for me personally, or like for like people?
For you, for
Oh, okay,
you.
okay, okay, okay. I would say routine for sure. Um Routine, and then also I guess music too. I'm a person who's been like really transient my whole life. Like my family moved like every other year, like countries, states, like everywhere. So I've kind of lived a lot of places and I've traveled a lot of places. And a lot of what this actually album that I put out explores is creating sanctuary space, like for me as someone who's not really like, who has never really had like a home base, but is like trying to like create that for myself, I guess. So music and art, I guess, are where I find peace and sanctuary most of all, I think, which is why I feel like they're so important. Like I tried to not be an artist and it just like didn't work. Like
I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
oh, for sure.
Hmm.
I just wanted to add to thank you window, that I did drop the links in the chat there to the organization that Zen was mentioning that they're participating in. So there's a link to the org, and then also to a CNN video. So thanks, Zen. Thanks, window. Back over to you, Lisa.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I definitely took a screenshot on my phone because I am going to be following up with that later. But my next question is for Najee. And I want to ask you the same question that we've been asking around the group. How are you doing Sanctuary?
Yes. I find my superpower of vulnerability is always a good place to start when it comes to Sanctuary. I have no qualms with expressing discomfort, anxiety, or fear with my greater community and with my tight knit community. And usually, inside of me being vulnerable, I get what I like to describe as like a mitzvah, which is just kind of a sharing of experiences. And in that space, am I able to create sanctuary and home because I know that I can rely on my radical honesty to lead me to people who are in similar spaces, regardless of if it is specifically my situation or something else. We can all relate on a human level to adversity or some kind of struggle. And so I've been able to create so much family connections, chosen family connections all over the globe using this methodology of just being really vulnerable. I share the sentiment of being a transient person, someone who like is kind of the world is my home and where I'm needed I'll be, and that comes from the gift of being queer. We heard about it a little bit from Lady Zen. You know, I am not officially an elder queer, but I'm making my way there. And so language has helped us all very much to create safer spaces. However, when I was growing up, it was not cool to be queer. It was not cool to be gay. Growing up in Oakland in like the 90s and the early 2000s when the hip hop movement was really strong and misogyny was like number one kind of cadence and theme in all hip hop music, being a little effeminate, you know, queer fucking celebritant was not really in alignment with a lot of my peers who lived on the same street as I did or went to the same schools or were in the same district. So I found a lot of sanctuary in the punk scene and the rave scene. As Lisa mentioned earlier, I was a DJ for many years in Oakland. I threw a party called Hella Gay Oakland Dance Party. And Hella Gay was our safe space. So Hella Gay was an all-inclusive dance party for anybody. And if you think about the words Hella Gay, it means like really happy. So sure, it's a queer party, and we promoted ourselves as queer people, and we also accepted everybody into our space. That goes into my philosophy as being a community person, as someone who helped to start First Friday in downtown Oakland. That was also one of our missions, was like anyone can come to First Friday. It was an open gallery art kind of space. And so a lot of the community work that I've done has been to open up my door and the collective door to vulnerability and to differences in safe spaces.
Can I transition and have you talk about Babe a bit and how that's a safe sanctuary space for you, the podcast?
Babe is, well, let's be real. Keith FM radio is predominantly run by people who don't look like me and who don't have my voice. And so when I stepped into the space, it was important for me to set myself aside from everyone else by showing my face, by being really vulnerable and having a lot of visibility. Because as like disc jockeys or radio hosts, you really are hiding behind your music. Whereas I thought it was really important for brown, black, queer, femme people in Berlin, because there's a fuck ton of us here, to have a connection to someone who looks like them, talks like them, and can relate to their experience. So Keith FM as an institution is like any of the institutions we have that we have to follow in line with. How I have created safety for myself is through my authenticity.
Darren.
Thank you, Najee.
Thank you, Najee.
Um, we're gonna bring it back around to you, Lady Zen, and One of the things that we were talking about, we had a conversation, all of us together, in preparation for this panel. And one of the things that we talked about is how it just kind of goes right from what you were just discussing, Najee, like how queer folks have actually been cultivating resilience through all time. Because, you know, even if it's become more cool and or more understood, thank whoever you think, our ancestors and folks who have helped make that possible, and we have more language now. It's never really been safe. So while we're experiencing a lot of lack of safety, you know, in the US and around the world, queer folks always have been experiencing unsafety. And so I just wondered if Zen, if you could talk a little bit about, yeah, the how you feel yourself or other queer folks in your communities have been cultivating resilience and creating safe spaces, you know, over time. That's a big question.
It's a huge
Yeah.
question.
So anything you want to talk about in those realms, because we did talk I mean, we also mentioned about you being an expat, you know, and the relationship of why, the way that is.
Right.
You've mentioned a bit about why you're in Mexico now, but yeah.
You know, in one of my shows, I talk about, and I show some film from the early 90s of this club I used to go to in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It was it was a warehouse space. It was called Ron's Place, and it was in the front was a little beauty salon, and Ron was the first drag queen I'd ever experienced in my life. And I had gotten a fake ID so I could go to this club because that was our sanctuary space for a long time, was club life. And so on Sunday nights, it would be the amateur drag contest and the talent show. And so on Sunday, it was all a buzz because all the queens would go to the beauty shop and get ready. And there would be this little parade of queens going into the bar, and it wasn't a welcoming space. It was a empty warehouse. So it had metal walls, it had concrete floors, it had metal ceiling, it had banquet tables with folding chairs, and a bar, a big long bar. And it was our place, like everybody mingled there, from the most wealthy queers to the poor people who had no community at all and were hiding from their families in this space. And for a long time, that seemed to be the only space that we had. And I'm so glad that we have more spaces that are sober spaces where we can be. And I felt like when I was younger, I couldn't go to church. I couldn't have a spiritual practice because in some way I've been taught my whole life that I was dirty, that there was something, that I was a pervert, that there was something wrong with me mentally. And then, you know, I think that we've always had this sense of, and I still do this every chance I get. I love to cook. I was a professional chef at one time. And the dinner table has become my sanctuary space and the spaces that I build for people so that I invite people over and we all cook together and we have this sense of family. So I think those have been the spaces that we have created in the past and continue to create. It's sad to me that there's only like 23 lesbian bars left in the whole world, when it used to be a thriving scene. I think that there's good in that we are able to integrate into any space and be anywhere and be who we are genuinely. But I also feel like we need to go back to what Pride was about, which was a political action, that we need to talk about ways that we can be politically active, that we need to create more family spaces for our family. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you. Window, my next question is for you, and it also has to do with family. You bring a lot of people together. You did that with Yule, and you did that with your listening party. And I just wanted to know more about your gathering of community, that how you organize it and how it informs your creative process.
Well, honestly, I grew up with like a lot of I grew up like going to families' houses, like or going to like big family like gatherings and stuff. So I always really liked that. Or I guess like that's something that's feels really familiar to me. And then as someone who's pretty transient, like and like as someone who doesn't really like have like quite necessarily like a great relationship with her family. Like I don't know, I still like find myself wanting to gather people. So a lot of it just comes from like, I mean, maybe it's a little bit selfish, but like a lot of it just comes from me wanting to I think gather people just to create little pockets of joy, I guess. And then also, you know, like ritual, revelry, like ceremony, stuff like that. I try to blur the line between like ceremony and like celebrations. Like I want to gather people together in, like I said, like radical joy is a lot of like is a really big pillar of like what I do and why I do it. So gathering people in joy, I feel like is a form of resistance. And it informs like I guess it doesn't just inform like the energy of my work, but it also informs like the purpose of my work too. Which I feel like is to connect people and bring people closer together and just remind people that like, you know, like we all have like experiences that are like similar. Like there is a lot that connects us, like, you know, and there are a lot of people that like, you know, obviously don't want to see that connection as we can see with the current administration, but like, you know, we are all literally just humans humaning, and I think it's important to like I don't know. I feel like also like with me, a lot of the events that I host are like low cost and free because I never want it to be like, and like I get it, like there are some events that like, you know, you gotta charge money for because like it makes sense and I get it. But it's like for me personally, I guess like I try to um I don't want it like I don't want anybody who's like I really need to like be surrounded by like love and joy and like, you know, good stuff. I don't want it to be like, oh, but I don't want to leave my house and spend $20 because I feel like that's been me so much. And like it is important to get out and support your community like fiscally and like monetarily, but like I mean I'm somebody who like doesn't make a lot of money, and so like I don't know, I just feel like I feel like people who like don't have money kind of get like left out of that. So like for me it's like I try to host things like outside a lot or like in spaces. Even like I know like I had Yule at your house and like that was literally so cool. It was the best. You guys should come to next Yule. But I guess like also curating space teaches me what to amplify and like what to leave out. So like, you know, like when I first started like doing like events and stuff, it was I was still kind of figuring out what worked and what didn't and what was kind of trial and error. But I guess like I don't know. I'm also somebody who I feel like is I don't want to like I hesitate to use the word empath, but like I feel like I have a lot of like empathy and a lot of like I'm very sensitive to like people's like needs and surroundings. So like um I guess like, you know, I try to pay attention to the needs that like are not being like outwardly expressed, because I feel like a lot of times as queer people, as like black and brown people, as marginalized people, like we're taught not to, you know, be like, hey, this is bothering me, or hey, like something's going on. So it's just I guess about being open, and I don't know, I think it's really important to be approachable and, you know, be open to shifting things if things aren't working. And I don't know, I just try to be open and yeah. I'm sorry, I might have gone off on a tangent there.
No, I like that. Thank you for your tangents and for connecting us to some more of how your process works. You try it, you go towards openness. These are all like nice tools for us to have in our toolbox as we go forward and create. We're dropping links to Windows Instagram in the chat notes and encourage everybody to add her. She's promoting her new album, Postcard Memories. And there's a link tree where you can download the song, and it's pretty catchy.
It is. Yes, yes. And it's honestly, that song is about healing the mother wound, like specifically, but it's like, um, I feel like it's so relatable. I feel like, and when I don't know, I didn't realize like how queer that song was when I first like wrote it, but like, because I think I didn't realize how many queers have like the mother wound stuff. And like, I mean, like, I'm just like, parental wounds in general, but like, I found like when I started performing that song, like people, like especially queer people really identified with it. And I was like, oh my God, like, wow, I don't even know. I mean, like I knew I was gay, but like, it's like, I didn't know. But
Thank you.
for sure.
It's a process. It's an
It
ongoing
is.
process. So speaking of our families, this one, we're going to pop it back over to you, Najee. And we had talked about this as a group too, like the importance of families, not just the ones we were, born from, blood family, but chosen family, especially for queer folks or just any of us who, yeah, need and want family in a way that maybe our families of origin didn't offer, right? Or haven't or can't. So something we were talking about too is just the importance of intergenerational work and relationship as queer folks and in our communities. So can you talk a little bit about that, because it's also very pertinent to your work, Najee, and how like the relationship of lineage and creating safety between generations.
As someone who really, how do I say this, didn't get what I needed from my parents growing up, and I love my parents dearly, disclaimer, they did the best that they could, disclaimer, I really had to seek family ties outside of my home. Inside of hearing both Window and Zen, I almost feel like we're speaking of the same language. We've walked in each other's shoes so much. And I just want to name the struggle of being othered, because I'm hearing that we've all been othered on some level. And just as we're communicating and we're starting this new family, my language to you, both Window and Zen, is I see you, I hear you. I'm sorry that happened. I'm grateful that we're in this space now where we're thriving, and like I have a lot of love for both of y'all. So what I just did there was an example of some things that I didn't get to hear when I was growing up, right? I didn't get to hear, I hear you, I see you, I'm with you in this moment. A big part of me creating family and this intergenerational, right, this like lineage of acceptance is through language. A lot of my practice, I work with children. I was a kindergarten teacher for 10 years in San Francisco and Oakland. And coming to school, presenting really femme in my AMAB body. So AMAB is an acronym for assigned male at birth. I don't identify as male, but I'm not like disillusioned to the reality of my biology. Walking into spaces as this alien to do a very niche, almost kind of work, working with children, 5-year-olds, and to have the parents trust me with their children has created such confidence in me and has allowed me to see why, sorry, this is like Windows open, has allowed me to see why advocacy is like so important and extends beyond a protest, a picket sign, a testimony. Advocacy is a day-to-day mission for somebody like me. And so I've been able to show my parents that as a queer person, I've lived this whole time and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not changing who I am. And my children, my kids that I've taken care of, my niece even, and all of my little kids, I'm showing them I'm not going anywhere and I'm probably gonna look like this the whole time you know me. And as much as I say I'm not a martyr, I'm not like leading the parade, in a lot of ways I am. And I don't want to. I don't mean to be this spokesperson, but that's just what advocacy looks like sometimes when you are living your authentic truth. And so I think a lot of my sanctuary spectrum comes from vulnerability, comes from radical honesty, because that's an instant access to what a lot of us are talking about right now. You having radical honesty and transparency of who you are is instant access to connection to community, spirit, source. And so I'm so honored to be in this space with Window and Zen, because we share generational differences. We're all 3 different ages, yet again, we're sharing a very similar language here. So I think this is an exemplary example of what that looks like in this group alone.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being in this group.
So there was just for full transparency, there is some like chatting on the side happening between us, you know, as moderators and panelists, so that we can like keep this as like live and relevant as it is, you know, this conversation. And I think there was a connection that was happening from what you were speaking to, Najee, and with Zen. And then we decided, so Zen, if you want to talk about your song, and Stephen, we're going to go ahead and after Zen is done introducing, we're going to jump to that video instead of doing it at the end, because it felt like it was kind of perfect timing.
Yeah. This is so much fun. So, maybe last year I was on tour and I was doing this tribute to Sade. And I decided at the last minute that I was going to go to a t-shirt shop and I was going to get myself a Sade shirt, and I was going to wear the Sade shirt and I would be on stage and it would be really cool to have the Sade shirt. So I go to, in Mexico, there's like, we kind of group everything. Like there was this street that had all these t-shirt shops. So I went to the t-shirt shop street and I walked in and I said, "Hey, do you have any female artist shirts? I'm looking for a Sade shirt." And they said, "No, no, no." I said, "Well, you've got 6 Michael Jordan shirts and an LL Cool J and all of these like men shirts. Where are the lady shirts?" They said, "Oh, we may have one in the back, but who cares about women artists? Like nobody buys those shirts." Okay. So, you know, I'm browsing through the Biggie and Tupac shirts, and they come out with a Britney Spears shirt. I said, "Well, I'm not looking for that shirt. Thank you very much." And they said, "Well, we have another one too." And they showed me a t-shirt of a girl in a bikini washing a car, which is also not a shirt I was looking for. So I went to the next t-shirt shop and had the same thing happen in all the t-shirt shops. It was like these sexy women. There was no representation of female artists. I was like, "Do you have a Dionne Warwick? Do you have Roberta Flack?" All these names that I'm throwing at them that they were just like, I don't know. I said, you have an Einstein shirt. Why don't we have any female scientists? Like, what is wrong with us that there's always all of this marketing around men's images, and we seem to know their names very easily. The only scientist I could name was Marie Curie. That was it. And I was like, wait a minute. If we want to have representation in the world as females, then maybe we should have a source where we could actually get more t-shirts with females on it with more information. So I started researching, and I wanted to put together a list of the 1,000 most famous women who had contributed so much to the world that you don't know their name, but I'm going to create a t-shirt company called She Shirts. And so we started just like creating images that we were screen printing, and then we thought, you know what, we don't want to add more plastic to the world. Let's find some other ways where we could like what would be easiest, what would be more stylish, and we decided that we were going to paint these images, hand paint them with different artists, and design them ourselves. The t-shirt. And so that's how She-Shirt was born. And we are currently working on the website. We're growing the business. We actually created 60 shirts that sold out so fast I couldn't even keep up with the orders that we have in demand today. And I had been talking about how important, like, Tina Turner, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, all of these women were so integral. Like, when I feel at my lowest, I can turn on these women and listen to them sing to me in a way that really touches me and encourages me. And it's my mother's voice. These are the mothers of my voice. So I wrote a poem that we created a music video, the music for it, and it's called Mother of My Voice. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, and you get to see the She-Shirts as well.
While riding the bus, I think of us, dear. While riding the bus, I think of us, dear. My first love wore gardenias in her hair, while the heroin coursed through her veins. I would listen to her sing of love and pain, transmuting into beauty. She was the mother of my voice, mother of my voice. Aretha said a little prayer for taught me how to chat. Nam yo renge kyo. She taught me about rock and roll, rolling on a river, Tina. You are the mother of my boy. Said you are the mother of my voice. 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 You are the mother. Tina, Nina, Aretha. Thank you, Miss Holiday.
Yeah. Thank you. It's also the link is in the chat. Folks want to watch that a few more times. You want to say
Yeah.
anything else, Zen?
There's some of the other things that were featured are other designs that I have in my house, in my boutique little house of fashion. And yeah, I'm very proud of what we created. It's created a beautiful a beautiful movement in that people are like, yeah, why is it that you go to t-shirt shops and there aren't more women in the t-shirt shops in the t-shirt shop?
Thank you. I believe now we are opening up the conversation to questions from our group. So I know that we have some listeners in the group that know some of the people here and some that are strangers, but this is a safe space to ask questions, get help with issues that you have or that a friend has. And we have a question from Nick.
Well, sorry, I don't have a question. I have to drop off and chat is disabled, so I can't say goodbye. So, but I really appreciate all the artists who you've featured sharing, and I really and I'm gonna want to follow up on a couple of things. So, thank you.
Is it before you go, is it okay for me to say that Nick is also leading a presentation that I'm excited about? And I was just wondering if you could say the title of it before you leave.
Well, I'm leading a couple of presentations. One is the Frederick Douglass and Declaration of Independence. Is that the one you're?
The second one.
The AI presentation. The AI presentation is what did we call it? Oh, I forget what we called it. I had some play on like not maybe the rise of the machines, but it's less scary than that. So, but it's along with Loretta Cheeks, and that's like down the road. That's near the end.
Okay, cool. We have time
So
to
we have
register
plenty
for
of
it.
time. Yes. So, but it's yeah, just discussing where AI is now and how to use it, but also what to be concerned about. So, but
It's we just got it in the chat. It's called Freedom from the Machine.
freedom from the machines. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for all
Thank you
your
for
work
calling that
too.
out. But again, thank you to all the artists, and I'm sorry that I can't stay for longer.
Thank you for being here, Nick.
Joining.
Bye.
I think we are also going to open up the chat. That was our intention, so we'll get that going so that folks can drop questions in the chat as well if you prefer. But feel free to just hop in. We're a pretty small size group here. We can just, open it up.
I have a question for each of the artists. I'm an artist myself, and I've come to realize the importance of celebrating your wins on all scales. So I'd like to ask how each of you like to celebrate your wins.
Well, I can start. I like to celebrate with gatherings. I like to throw little parties. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but I like gathering people together. Um, Today, actually, I have my release party, so after this, I'm gonna go gather people to celebrate the album. And um, I don't know. I'm usually like it really just buy myself a little treat, you know, like just something small, just to be like, oh, you did it, good for you. Like, give myself some grace. It's always work in progress, though. It's sometimes where it's hard to like, let yourself be like, oh, I did that. Oh, I'm good, I did it. Because an artist, as artists, we're so like, oh, I didn't like this one little part. Oh, I didn't like this one little part. Even now, I'm listening back to this thing, and I'm like, oh, there's things I want to change. No, so it's like you just gotta, like let yourself be proud of like what you have done and like know that like you're only ever like evolving and growing and just be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
I guess I'm still working on that with my therapist. Gratitude, having a gratitude attitude, that is my daily win. That is my daily prayer. That is my daily practice. I study the School of Love. And in the School of Love, we are grateful for every day and every breath. So I think a win is when that language, I hear it mirrored back to me. So when I talk like this and someone that I love reflects that back,
Well, I love to take myself to fancy dinners actually and get super dressed up. I think I have a funny story about that. The first time I ever did like a big concert, I was in this beautiful old kimono, and I had on kabuki makeup, and I was walking around the street and I felt so good. And someone had hired a limousine, and the limo driver was sitting outside. And so I walked up to him and I thought, I'm going to be bold here. I said, so you got the car's empty here. Are you just waiting? And he was like, yeah, I have to wait till the party comes out. I was like, so, I look pretty fancy, don't you think? And he was like, yeah, what did you do? I said, oh, I just had this big thing and was on stage with Glenn Close and was doing all this stuff. And it's the first time that I've ever really been like, Glenn Close and I talked a lot while she was doing Albert Nobbs. And so I was like, I just feel really good. And I was wondering if you would take me around the block in your limousine there. And he said, no. I was like, oh man, come on, you gotta wait. You're just waiting here. Why not? I mean, I would just like to know what it's like to get into and get out of a limousine like that. And he was like, fine, we're just going around the block. I said, that's perfect. So I sat in the back of this big limousine that had all the colors and all of the alcohol, and it looked like they had had a big party before they went into their occasion. And I felt so great. And I realized at that point that I always wanted to feel that way about the things that I did, that I wanted the rest of my life to be a free limousine ride. And I haven't stopped looking for those opportunities. I love to go to dinner and I love to buy like a little antique something, just something little that I can always have around in my house. I think it is important to celebrate who you are, because if you can't celebrate yourself, honey, how the hell are you going to celebrate anything else?
We have some more questions coming in. I have to scroll. I wanted Najee to get a chance to tell us a little bit more about casino travels. We dropped it in the chat.
Oh, yes. Is this in response to someone's question, or is this just?
This is just a question
Yes,
that I
no, it's
had. Will you tell us more about casino travels?
Yeah, totally. I wanted the rest of my life to feel like a free limousine ride. Quote, Mister Lady Zen, fucking love that for you. I'm just now looking at the chat for the first time, so my bad. Yeah, so Casino Travels is a YouTube channel that I started, wherein I'm just riding trains. And I have been trying to hack the YouTube algorithms. And so if you type in Black queer commute, I'm the first face that shows up. So it started as a like self-love project, question mark, because it gets really dark here in Germany in the wintertime, and I'm a California girl, so like depression was real. I didn't really know what that was about, and so I just went out with my phone and I would record buses and trains, and it picked up some traction, and I've just been doing it now again, like as like it is like a self-care thing because it's a way for me to kind of get out of the house and engage. I also started a YouTube channel, Casino Cooks. Casino is my alias here in Berlin, and it's a really fucking cool name. So Casino Cooks is my other channel, and where I work as a nanny here for a family, and every day I make dinner for us, and so I've started a YouTube channel wherein I am just making meals. That's Casino Cooks. So yeah, like Casino does a lot of different things.
Thank you, Casino. I didn't know that you did it as a temperature for the climate, like that makes a lot of sense. Like, how do we take care of
I'm
ourselves?
gonna stop you there. It wasn't for the climate. It was a self-care mission for myself to get out of the house. And it just so happened that I started in winter in Berlin when it was really dark.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's really light right there now, right? Till like 11.
We just had the summer solstice, y'all. So like happy solstice.
Happy solstice.
Yeah.
Does it stay light there till like 10 or 11? Is that true?
It's cool now.
Oh, okay. No, it's dark. But it was light when we got on the call with you. That's great.
There's some lovely more questions in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland asked a really good one too. It says, and this is for the group, what is one memory you have where you felt particularly seen as the person you are?
So I used to work at a place called the Freight and Salvage, which is in Berkeley. It's located in Berkeley, California, and it is a historical kind of like bluegrass. World music is not the terminology I want to use, but it's a place of music, and it's in Berkeley, California. And again, like I spoke a lot about my advocacy work as being my authentic self, and I think I was promoted to manager, like night manager, event manager, and inside of that, I got to meet so many like important people. I got to meet oh my god, my brain. Bobby McFerrin knows me on a first name basis. I met some singers for Sheila E. There's like the Black Gospel Choir of Oakland, who all kind of know me on a first name basis. And I was able to really kind of like show my skill set that I had been honing for so many years, and to have like affirmation from legendary artists that like really kind of gave me praise for just holding space for them, which is something queer people do. As a response to trauma, we are empathic. Just piggybacking on what Window said earlier, like we are empaths because we have to for our survival. So we have to like gauge the room. We have to read the room to see who's going to be an ally or not. And so yeah, I think some of my biggest kind of like moments of recognition was from these like these titans of my parents' kind of memory banks, seeing me, in my fullness. Just like I'll never forget like my connection to all those people.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I was
sorry.
gonna say, for
Yeah,
me,
go for it.
it was wearing a shirt. I'm actually working on a documentary called The Shirt that talks about how I created this fashion brand and this company. And it started with a shirt. It started with wearing a men's shirt. And it buttons on the opposite side. Did you know that? Like ladies' shirts and men's shirts, they button on the opposite side. That's how you know that you're wearing a gender affirming shirt.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, it was a shirt. And when I put on this men's shirt, it was a men's white shirt, just like this. And somebody said, "Wow, you look really handsome." And that changed everything for me.
Honestly, like, I don't know. I think that like I really felt because I'm not from the Bay originally. I'm not from Oakland, so like I've had a lot of experiences outside of California, and I know a lot of us know that like it's. I mean, it depends for sure on where you are, but like like rural middle America is not necessarily the best place to be like intersectionally marginalized. So, um, I think that like when I moved to the Bay and then specifically when I moved to Oakland, well, I came out of the closet because I was like, I mean, it's so silly, like to be in the closet and be like an adult, like it's like, but, like, no, but like I came out of the closet and then, I was around a lot of like, this was the first time because I feel like in a lot of other places you have to choose between like, oh, you're either queer or you're Black. You can't be both. There's no space for that. But like here, specifically in Oakland, I felt like for the first time I was coming into a community that like actually understood what it was like to be many things. And so I think that was, and then like I don't know, to still have like I don't know, and then I still have like my loved ones who like I like who have just supported me so much and have like like I have like such close friends who have just like always believed in me, like even from like the beginning, and like no matter what, like it just like hasn't changed. So just like having that like solid like support system, even if it's like not traditional, like too. I feel really seen by my loved ones as well.
Thank you.
We do have another question here. I don't know if y'all saw from Hannah, but she said, "I'm so grateful." Or do you want to ask it, Hannah? Is Hannah still here? The question is,
I'm
go
here.
for it.
Sorry about
Go
that.
for it. No worries.
Yeah, the stories about physical sanctuaries are incredibly meaningful and incredibly important, but I was wondering if any of the artists or all of the artists had stories or methods for creating digital sanctuaries.
I will also just say that while the artists are thinking about that, I myself and Lisa are artists as well, and obviously it's part of why we created this conversation, right? And one of the I'm interested to hear folks' response because this is a question in the Sanctuary Spaces project is like how we'll invite folks who are experiencing unsafety to be a part of conversations and interviews and sharing their stories in ways that are going to be safe for them, right? So one way, and whether or not we can share that online or whether or not folks can be like will want to be in person at live events, because we're going to want to do a combination of both, like sharing stories online in safe ways for folks, and then also bringing people together in live spaces that are also safe for folks. And so this is a very like timely question, I think, too, and certainly for this project. So yeah, let us know what you think, y'all.
Hey, Hannah, excellent question. I have created digital imprint. So if you type in my name into Google, I will come up. And here in the chats, both of my channels are linked. So, it's about creating a lane. When I started doing my casino travels YouTube, the majority of the things that are related to it are cis men who are like white. So when I started creating this hashtag Black Queer Commute, it was not only to have the algorithms get my name out there, be the first person you see, but also to like create that language. So now, based on my existence as a Black queer commuter, that now lives in the lexicon of like YouTube, for example. So
That's very cool, Najee. You're
thanks.
creating like a language.
I think I heard you saying that. Yeah, it's like incredibly important. It's a gift that we all have, and it comes from a lot of listening. It's not so much, how much I can express myself or be out into the world, but it's how much I can like hear from other people and reflect that back to them. So I appreciate you. I also want to say to Window real quick, please keep making music and producing it, because like fucking Zen is an icon, and I just found out you're an icon from your videos, bitch.
No,
like,
literally.
So like, just think like Window. Just think about like, your progression as an artist. Fucking produce all the time, dude. Because somebody's gonna pick that shit up eventually. One point, Zen is literal living proof of that.
Aww.
I encourage you so much, and yeah, I'm like, love us right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Literally, all of you don't ever stop doing what you're doing either. And literally, everybody, don't stop. If you're thinking of stopping, don't stop. Make it pop. DJ, blow my speakers up. Okay, I'm done.
All these stop signs around, we need to replace them with start signs.
I love it. This is Martha, and I've been listening and I love every one of that you are sharing and offering. And I just want to thank you. I hope to see you next week too. I know so many people that I want to bring along with me to get more of this, but I'm just sitting here with the word trans, that you've been able to transport me into all these different options and possibilities for what sanctuary can mean through poetry, art, and just conversation, and that lovely invitation to be yourself. So thank you so much. This is a wonderful thing you are building and creating.
I mean, I feel like at this point, if folks want to keep just having a conversation, we can, but we also can have like a soft out. If we're feeling like full, and like we've shared. But I want to just give a little space for folks to just breathe and like think, like Najee just did some reflecting back and like connecting. And if y'all want to connect back in with each other, or just, things that popped up during the conversation or people sharing.
I am curious how this feels. One, I just feel so full. Oh my God, just from the beginning. Like it was just like I started with tears, and then it was just like that full pride. And I'm like, this is like that meal that you didn't know that you needed, that just like makes you go yum and stretch and go like, oh, thank God. Or it's like, showing up in that queer space where you're like, whoo, okay. Like all of that. So just, I'm just feeling grateful, Lisa, Krista, you're organizing Lady Zen and Najee and Window, and just like seriously filling this space in such a beautiful way, both politically, like spiritually and emotionally, in the activity of creating with who we are, with who you are, creating with us. Um, so, and I felt like, so there were, I put some words in the chat, but I love the superpower of vulnerability. Like, I think that lives in the work of what often gets called authenticity, right? Is the superpower of vulnerability, of being who we are in the moment with others. And the work of that, and I'm naming the work of that, even as it is a gift to us, but the work of that, because this is a ticketed event, and and you are your life work is a giving of you, right? Which can be both exhilarating, but has, there's a thing in there. So I'm also gonna at some point post the donate donate button in here again, so that we continue to give to the work that you're creating with us. Um, but I wonder if this felt like, I'm putting a bunch of links in all at once. Um, how this felt like sanctuary. Because I believe, to me, the sanctuary that you've been speaking of is the activity of building community, or the activity of being with others, or the activity of in relation to what you need, what's in the world, what's not. So I wondered how this felt, and also in response to Hannah's question, how are we doing here? And it doesn't have to be a politically correct answer. I mean, they can be like, well, it's pretty good, and then it got whatever. But I think it's an important question as we're continuing to build. And there was something, I think, Najee, you were speaking to it, but I don't know, that like the Freedom Festival as that invitation for people to create and be in the space. This is what it is. The Improv Science Freedom Festival is the freedom festival that is the Black queer commute, right? It's a different lexicon of what is a freedom festival. It is a invitation for us to be different with one another, right? In a way that builds us and breathes with us. Okay, lots of words from Raquel. How did we do here in terms of sanctuary spaces? And I realize there's a particular project that is sanctuary spaces. Let me not, but in creating sanctuary, I'll say that.
Thank you for naming what's happening in real time, Raquel. That is a really good point. Like, this is a real time experience of what sanctuary space could look like. I even think one of our participants, I think it's Martha, I can't remember your name, I apologize. You also spoke to this about, us showing up and us being in the space and kind of the invitation of our authenticity. Yeah, I'm so grateful. I think like Lease Dogs, which is an acronym for Lisa, really slayed this. I think you really got a very particular panel of people together who like have a lot of intersectionality, and at the same time, I felt like this conversation flowed like seamlessly. Which I just give a kudos to Krista and Lee's Dogs for sure for doing that. I think y'all like slam dunk in the hoop. And my continued advocacy will, I think I'm going to continue to just do me. So, there will always be a storyline, and speaking, and I don't mean to get too political or like too whatever, but considering our nation is trying to erase trans people and trans identities, I think, the slogan or the terminology, we're here, we've always been here, we'll never go anywhere, reigns so true to me now. As someone who like has gender dysmorphia, as someone who, has like internalized homophobia and racism, I think like all of those kind of past teachings don't affect my future. And so a lot of my resistance is kind of counteracting those voices with just my existence. And I know I see that reflected in so many faces here.
Thank you, Najee.
Well, I've been saying that, people are like, why are there so many trans children now? There's never been this many trans children. And I think that they're going to school and they're doing that, they're coming back trans. And it's like, I have a niece who's 11 years old, and she invited me. She actually wanted to invite a bunch of her friends from school because she was like, my Uncle Zen's pretty cool. You're going to really like them. And so, um, I was sitting in this group of all of these trans kids who have different identities, and they felt so comfortable having conversations because they're like, oh, well, this is I'm pansexual, or I'm this sexual, or how do you feel about this girl or that boy? And like it was really great to see those conversations unfolding. And yeah, I believe that, even in my own masculinity, it's when I first started saying, oh, I'm a trans masculine person, I took on a lot of traits that were very misogynistic and were very, probably the most ugly parts of masculinity. Like I felt like men who were very feminine, they weren't a true example of what a man is about. Like I was going to take on, and I thought that being a man was abrasive, that um there was a certain amount of chivalry, there was a certain amount of silencing of the female voice and saying, no, I'm the person in charge here. So I had to kind of like really come to terms with this idea of a balanced gender presentation, physically female, but feeling very masculine, and what that really meant to me. And so it was great to be able to share this with young children about like, or young people, young persons, about like how you can have this integration. And when people talk to me about like, oh, there's all these trans kids and I don't think it's right, it's like, okay, what is the one thing that we've been fighting all of humanity? We've been fighting this like balance of the masculine and feminine. So we've been praying about it. Femicide still happens pretty rampantly all over the world. And I said, what if it is just an answer to the prayers that we've been praying for millennials? Like millennium, like this is us. We are the balance, both. We are the humans who have evolved, and this is, we can put online that dogs are evolving, but we're not talking about the evolution of the human being. And that these children that are here now understand the need for that balance. They are the answer to our prayers, and it is our duty to be able to have these conversations and create space for them to be in. They already know, they already sense, they already know that all of this is trying to be erased in our language, but they're like, no, we're here because you asked us to be here. We're going to challenge you to grow up and to accept that humanity is evolving, and its gender spectrum is incredible.
That was so beautiful.
Thank God we're recording.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're recording. And also, I wrote it in the notes. The kids are listening, and let us remember that we are evolving. I loved what you said. And this whole program has been a feast for me as well. I am incredibly grateful for my relationship with Raquel, and that I continue to maintain it and will through the rest of my life. And I am so grateful for Krista and how she's taught me a lot about language and organization and flow and expression. And I plan to continue my friendship with you for the rest of my life. And that we have grown today. And Joanna, you're a powerhouse. I'm just grateful for your energy and for you being here, and everyone who came today, and all the folks who will come next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, each one of you. Yeah, and I think to acknowledge that commitment, and the commitment to this evolution is why we're all in this conversation. That's why we're all here, and it's certainly why I'm here. And yeah, just something I haven't, it's very obvious, but I'm a white person, right? Who is queer, but easily straight passing. And like, I think it's just it's a part of my work as an artist and a human in the world is creating these kind of spaces. So thank you.
All right, babes. We'll see each other next week, right?
I'm going to bed.
I do believe this brings us to a close of this fabulous and amazing session. I'm so glad we're doing it again next week. The links are in the chat, as well as an opportunity to donate to Moving Ground in support of the artists and their voice, which the tickets again are also part of that activity. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, there is Building Conversation, International Conversation Cafe, Building Community with Differences, that's taking place online. Again, there are more events. Dr. Loretta Cheeks, African American, works in artificial intelligence, is in the machine learning session that was mentioned earlier. I say that for the next shirt because she'd make a fabulous shirt, in a she shirt.
Nice.
And on Saturday before Sunday, we have conversation with the artist, with Joanna, for Artist of the Freedomistas, with the Freedom Festival up here in Sonoma County. You'll see a reception and actually also an anime conversation on that same Saturday. We are rich in what we're creating with. So glad, so appreciative again of you beautiful, fabulous queer artists. Thank you for this, and we'll see you Sunday, if not before. We got a festival. I'm so excited today. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
You so much. All right. Be well.